What's up, guys? Now I'm back for another leg day. I know that on Wednesday the audio quality was absolutely horrendous. Still kind of learning how to mess with the settings of the videos before I voice over them. Today was a semi-decent squat day, but I was not 100% successful in what I was doing. Yesterday, I also got some feedback from a friend who watched my video, and he said that I didn't really explain too well what my entire goal is. So, to give it some background, there's this guy named Martins Licis, World's Strongest Man. His strategy is to squat, well, not just squat, but do the lift, like the main lifts, and when he's far out from his strongman competitions, he does extremely high volume, like sets of 15 to 20, and then as he gets closer and closer, he lowers the reps and increases the weight. That is what I am going to be doing. So this month I'm doing 20 reps. I'm actually going to add an extra 2 weeks to this month, and then next month I'm doing 15 reps, and then I'll drop down to 8, and then 6, and then 4, and then 3, and then 2. And that way I can build tolerance to reps, and I can also increase conditioning in the muscles, which will allow me to do more overall work without getting as fatigued. Today was a somewhat failed squat day because I was not able to do all 4 sets again. I would say I did 3, but I only did 2 sets of 20 and I did a set of 10. So I added 20 pounds instead of 10, which honestly wasn't that bad of an idea. I was really just worried about failing, so I didn't want to push it, along with the fact that I am still dealing with the adductor strain a little bit. I didn't want to push too hard and possibly re-strain it. I'm still trying to help it heal. So I got 9 reps into my last set, which I didn't record my third set, but I got 9 reps in, and I did my 10th rep, and I was like, nope, no more. I'm just gonna call it here. I don't want to overstrain. I don't want to cause any damage. I did do my first sets a lot faster than last week, though. They went a lot better. Squat felt a lot smoother and a lot stronger. Although my first set felt lighter, my second set really felt like it looks like it moved a lot faster. My warm-ups were not as intense this week. I didn't do as many sets of... I did 3 or 4 split squats on each leg, really holding it instead of doing 2 sets. I didn't do the hamstring, the front-loaded good mornings with the plate. I just kind of waved my legs around in the air a little bit, and then I didn't record it, but I also did my adductor and hip flexor movements just to warm up my legs. Here is the first set. The first rep is slow. My first few reps of both sets happen to be a little bit slow because I find that when I keep a little bit more control, it doesn't hurt as bad and it doesn't ache as bad in my hip. I was very impressed with myself that I was able to add 20 pounds and still do 20 reps with minimum struggle. They were actually a lot easier than last week. It was just that I was worried about failing with no spotter because I'm not really I'm doing this in the middle of the day with nobody home. I believe that I am going to be making some really good gains from this because the max I've ever squatted for 20 reps had been 135 before. My best set is my second highest set was, I believe it was 165 for 16, and I was gassed after that, and I was able to do 155 for 20 2 times today, which was very impressive to me. Although I'm not really fully locking out, my quads were pumped to the max. Got a lot of blood in the quads, as I like to say. This week was a fatiguing week. I didn't really get a lot of sleep, so the fact that I was still able to pull this together was very impressive. I had minimal caffeine in my system. See that? You can see the orange drink in the back. That's what I was drinking. I drank about a quarter of that before I did this set. After the set, I drank about another quarter, so I had about half left. I took 2 minutes between sets, which was probably not the greatest idea, but it worked pretty well. I also moved my high bar squat from as high on my traps as I can get it to a little bit farther down. So it's not where low bar is, but it's not where high bar is. It's more on the high bar spectrum, but I could move it down a little bit and it would be closer to lower bar. And then if I moved it down any more, it would probably look like a low bar squat with my lean. I was burning on this set. Oh, and I just have to mention it. I accidentally wore my old soccer pants and my old jersey, so the lines match and it looks kind of cool. The sets look kind of good because I was able to get the lines to line up, which I know is not really all that important. You'll also notice that I'm not hitting depth. By the way, I'm not worried about depth because I know that I'm doing a million reps. If I do a few less reps, like when I get down to 8, every rep is going to be to depth. It might not be the same depth every time, but it will be at least hip hinge below the top of the knee. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just waiting for this set to end. I feel like this was a really long set. Yeah, you see I'm not fully locking out. Although a lot of people say, like, oh, there's no real benefit to squat if you're not going to lock out, or, like, it's not the full range of motion or whatever, but I'm not really worried about the top end of my squat. I've never had a problem with it. The top end of your squat is, like, where your vertical is, and my vertical is really good, so I'm never really struggled to lock out. I'm always poppy at the bottom, or at the top. All right, so now we're moving on to sumo deadlifts, and in the warm-ups, I was just kind of warming up. I wasn't worried about my cues or anything. Really just I was worried about one cue, and that was keeping the legs out. Keeping on that kind of like side of my foot, keeping the glutes engaged. And as I continued warming up, I was not making a checklist, but I was thinking about what I should be doing to make sure that my form is completely consistent every time. So what I started doing was I would look out. Instead of looking down, I believe looking out is going to really help me because my back is normally kind of rounded when I deadlift, but like the upper back, not the lower back. And I was talking to Coach Kyle or my friend Kyle or whatever I referenced him as the other video. And he said that it's much easier to pull sumo with a straight back. So that's what I'm focusing on right now, is keeping my back as straight as I can. Keeping my head up is really helping keep my back tight as well. Here I am putting 225 on. I know all of these move very slow. Every rep I do moves extremely slow, but I am keeping complete control of the weight on the way up, and I have yet to get any adductor pain or hip pain while doing the reps. I get a little bit of that ache after, but 'tis to be expected when you're still somewhat rehabbing. I go up to 275. I used straps for 2 of my 3 sets. Kyle told me that it would be a really good idea to not use straps for 1 set, just so I can really find that positioning. And then as I got into my 2nd set, I was really able to find that slack pull that I need, because in these sets, I pull the slack, but I pull more up than back. And in the 2nd set of 275, which will come after these. You'll see how I do it. I come up, but then I kind of, instead of just straight up, I go up and then I try to get my shoulders back and up. So that really engages my hamstrings on the way up. It helps me get in this kind of uprightish position, not as leaned over. So that really helped. And then it also allows me to really just push my hips in. And when I push my hips in, the bar just pops up off the floor. Just perfect. My adductor was working in overtime before because I wasn't using my glutes. Now that I'm squeezing my glutes at the top range of the deadlift, I think my adductor is kind of getting that break that it deserves. And it's making my lockout a lot easier. I use hook grip, so it takes a little bit of time to set up. I also use chalk on this one, so just bear with me while I put the clips on the bar and, go through my little ritual thing. I have also been practicing, I don't know if I said this in the last video, but I'm trying to practice lower, rest times. I rest between 30 seconds to 2 minutes maximum between sets. If I'm trying to build my conditioning, there's no reason for me to take 5 to 10 minutes between sets, especially if I'm lifting extremely submaximal weights. Here I am chalking my thumbs. A tip for hook grip pullers, don't just chalk the front. Actually chalk all the way around your thumb and learn to peace sign hook grip, which is when you just grab your thumb with your first 2 fingers. It allows you to get that most range. I think if you grab with anything besides your pointer and your middle finger, you are increasing your range of motion by enough that it could leave maybe 5 pounds off the bar, which is not ideal or optimal for maxing or powerlifting. Here I am. Yeah, I forgot to put my head up on this one, but you'll see I do make the correction. Head goes up, and I try to keep it nice and slow. The one thing about the chalk is it really does lock your fingers in place. I have yet to miss a deadlift on grip in I don't know how long. I don't think I've ever missed a deadlift on grip because I've been able to double overhand 365 with no problem. That's like my genetic gift, is my forearms and my grip. Here I go. You'll see that when I pull the slack, I'm going up. I'm not really sitting back as much. Yeah, see, I forgot to put my head up again. But I do have the straps on. Yeah, here's when I start to sit back, and you'll see how I'm able to get a little bit more into this upright position. I'm trying to grip the straps like I would grip hook grip, so that same kind of range. But I'm really able to get this upright positioning. Yeah, there you go. See, I kind of lever back in and then push forwards. I think that was another thing that was making me get off the sides of my feet. It was kind of pushing me, my arch would roll inwards instead of out where it should be. Here's my last set of 5. And I believe that this was not my worst set. I think the first set was the worst set because I just hadn't gotten it together. I think this was my second best, and then the second set was most definitely the best. I'm also trying to not have to push my hips back every time because I think it wastes time during the set. You can see that I'm really just trying to get into position right away, and this made the set very short, and it made me feel strong because I wasn't wasting energy trying to pull the slack out every time. I'm also pushing my lats down, keeping everything tight. That's the end of the video. Thank you, and enjoy.